Alright, so we got that warm-up and that daily check behind us, so let's take a look at this graphing polynomials practice. Now, if you're at home watching this, then that whole warm-up and daily check thing probably didn't make sense, but most of you are probably watching this in class. So, once again, here's the idea. We've got 4 problems. You're going to have some time to work on it first. Then we'll play one of the questions and you can see if you got it right or not and know what mistakes you made. Now, I'd make sure you understand this. There is a very high chance you get some sort of quiz on this next time. Okay? So, if you haven't already, guest teacher, if you could pause this for about 5 minutes, give them time to get this done. You may need to give them a little less time. Take a look at the schedule and see what time you do have, and try to give them a little bit of time for each one. I'd like to get through all of them. So, if you haven't already got it done, pause it now, get it done, and then we'll start up again. Alright, so you should have at least tried this one. So, first thing we do, we need to say our degrees, our zeros, our multiplicity, and our end behavior. Okay? So, let's start with degree. So we've got 2x's, 2x's, 1x, and 1x. So add those all together, 4, 5, 6, so degree of 6. Okay. Now, we look in front, it's positive. We need to note that. So for our end behavior, we can go as x approaches infinity, as x goes to the right. An even positive, remember, goes up. F of x goes to infinity. Okay? Right? For even positive, they both go up. So to the left, as x approaches negative infinity, f of x approaches infinity also, positive. Now remember, for end behavior, you always have to have 2 of those. Okay? We can write them in a different format. So you could go the limit as x approaches infinity, f of x approaches is equal to infinity, and the limit as x approaches negative infinity, f of x approaches infinity. Either one works. I'll probably be kind of switching back and forth between them. These are the same thing. These two are the same thing. Alright, now let's take a look at our zeros. Okay, so you might want to say positive 4 for a 0, but with these x squareds in the middle, you've got to beware. I'm going to erase this for a second, at least the top part. Because if I go x squared minus 4 equals 0, we would add 4, and we'd have x squared equals 4. Take the square root of that, and I'd have x equals positive or negative 2. So, that's not 4 with a multiplicity of 2. Remember, multiplicity is the powers outside the parentheses. Okay, so I know that I've got a negative 3 and a positive 1, and now I know I have a positive 2 and a negative 2. Now let's take a look at this one. X squared minus 9 equals 0. So we'd add 9 to both sides. So we get x squared equals 9. Take the square root of that, and we get x equals plus or minus 3. Now we already have one negative 3, so that actually has a multiplicity of 2. So negative 3 with a multiplicity of 2. Okay. Positive 3 with a multiplicity of 1. That gets rid of those 3. Positive 1 with a multiplicity of 1. That gets rid of that one. And then we have the positive 2 and negative 2 both with a multiplicity of 1. Okay. So the multiplicity with our zeros should add up to our degree. 2 plus 4, it does. Okay. So now let's graph it. It's the last step. So we've got a negative 3 here. We've got a positive 3. And this one's going to bounce, right? The rest are just going to cross. So if you need to write that, remind yourself. A 1, a 2, and a negative 2. Now my end behavior is going to positive infinity both. So I know from this last one, it's going to go up. Okay. I also know at positive 3, we're crossing, so it's going to come through. Then at 2, we're crossing, so it's going to come back through. At 1, we're crossing back, so we kind of get this back and forth here, like that. Then at negative 2, it's going to cross, so it's going to come like this. And then at negative 3, that's the one that's going to touch. So it'll come back down, touch, and then do our left end behavior, which is also positive. And that's what your graph should look like. Alright, If you needed to, pause it for a little bit, but try to keep up. Okay, now jump to question number 2. Take a few minutes and do that one. So it should be paused now. Alright, we should be back now, so let's take a look at this one. So let's start off with our degree. So we've got 4 here, right? And 2 here and 1 here. No squares in the middle, so we've got 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7, so a degree of 7. Okay, now our zeros, we've got a negative 4 here, and that 4 tells us a multiplicity of 4. We've got positive 2 with a multiplicity of 2, and then we have positive 1 with a multiplicity of 1. Okay, so our end behavior, we've got an odd and then no negative in front, so odd positive. Remember, odd positive looks like this: to the right up, to the left down. So I would go, as x approaches the right, or positive infinity, f of x equals positive infinity. And as x approaches negative infinity, as it goes to the left, f of x approaches negative infinity as well, because it goes down. Alright, so now let's graph these. So negative 4, 2, and 1. Okay, 2 even, so those are going to touch or bounce, and 1 that's going to cross. Now, as I go right, I'm going up, so I know at 2 from here it's going up. Then it's touching, so I know it's going to touch here, and then go to 1, and 1 is crossing, so it'll dive back through. Okay, then 4, it'll touch, and the end behavior is going to look like this, going left down. So it touches here, and then it's going to meet back up at some point. So it looks kind of like that. Okay, so if you need to find your mistakes, hopefully you got it pretty close. Now, if you did something like you just went further down, that's fine. Okay, that's not wrong. What we're looking for is, do you have the right end behaviors? Do you have the right, it touches or crosses at the right zeros? That's really what you're looking for. Okay? Alright, let's take a look at the next one. So, take about 5 minutes, get this problem done. Obviously take a look at the clock and make sure you have enough time to finish these last 2. So, get number 3 done, and then we'll do that one. So, pause the video now. Alright, we should be back to it now, so let's knock this one out. So once again, notice we've got the squares on the inside. Okay, but that's 2, 4, 5. So degree of 5, and it's positive. Okay, so we know the end behavior goes up as we go right, goes left as we go down. So as x, let's do this one in the other notation. So the limit as x approaches infinity, so as we go to the right, f of x goes up to positive infinity. The limit as x approaches negative infinity, as we go to the left, our function goes down to negative infinity. Okay? Now, x squared minus 4, we should already know what that's going to end up being, right? X squared equals 4, square root it, we get plus or minus 2. Then for 1, x squared minus 1 equals 0, add 1, x squared equals 1, take the square root, and we get x equals plus or minus 1. And we have a positive 7. 7 with a multiplicity of 1. Then we've got a negative 1 and a positive 1 with multiplicities of 1. And a negative 2 and a positive 2 with multiplicities of 1. Okay? So they're all going to cross, right? So then we graph them. So positive 7, positive 2, positive 1, negative 1, negative 2. And behavior, as we go right, we go up. So from 7 we're going up. Then we cross. Then 2 will cross, then 1 will cross, negative 1 will cross, 2 will cross, leading us to our left end behavior, which is going down. So we're just kind of going to roller coaster it here. So we go down for a bit, then back up, then down, then up, then down. And it should look like that. Okay? Alright, so you guys should have been able to follow along with that one. Hopefully you're getting better at these. If you didn't quite get everything and you ran out of time, make sure you watch this at home. It'll be up on YouTube for you and all that good stuff. Okay? Alright, so let's take a look at this last one. Depending on how much time you have, I'll probably only take about 2 or 3 minutes to finish it. So give yourself anywhere from 2 to 5 to 10 minutes, however much time you need on this one. Pause it now. Alright, so let's take a look at this last one. So, now we've got the powers on the outside. So I've got 2, 3, which would be 5, and 1 more, which would be 6. So 6 x's, so my degree is 6. Okay, I've got a 0 of negative 3. Remember, we always do opposite with a multiplicity of 2. A 0 of positive 2 with a multiplicity of 3. And a negative 1 with a multiplicity of 1. Okay, so let's do our end behavior. So as x approaches infinity, or the limit as x approaches infinity of our function equals, well, where's it going to go? It's an even and it's positive, so they're both going up. Okay, that's as we go to the right. Now, as x approaches negative infinity, f of x approaches, or the limit as x approaches negative infinity of f of x also is going to go up because it's even and it's positive, so they both go up. So now we go to negative 3, we go to 2, and negative 1. Now as we go right, we go up, so we know that one's going up. Okay, positive 2 has a multiplicity of 3, so it's going to cross. It's going to have a little jog, but it'll cross. It kind of flattens as it crosses. Then negative 1 has 1, so it's going to cross as well. So we'll dip down a bit and come back through and cross. Then negative 3 has a multiplicity of 2, so we know it's going to touch. And then to follow that end behavior, as we go to the left, it's going to go up. So it should look something like that. Alright guys, pause this as needed, and you should about be to the end of the class period. So there we go. Enjoy your weekend.